CNN's got the report. Trump links autism to acetaminophen use during pregnancy, despite decades of evidence it's safe. I love that.
Yeah, Trump did it.
Yeah. when the doctors come out and say there's a new study linking autism to acetaminophen use during pregnancy, my favorite moments of this conference was when Donald Trump said acetaminophen. We're going to have to figure out how do you say that one.
That was good, but also when he looked back at RFK Jr., he was like, he's being more comfortable. I'm just going to say it. You know, I think this is bad. Don't take Tylenol.
Yeah. Trump has never had to say the word acetaminophen. That's crazy to me. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, I go to it. We went to the doctor. Like, I just had a baby, and they're talking to us about ibuprofen, acetaminophen, aka Tylenol, and Trump's like, "What's this word?" I do not know.
It's because he's impervious to pain.
Real.
Never had to have him
because he's hilarious.
Well, let's read this, and then I have a funny tweet for you. Let's see how the left is responding to this. We already see how they're responding. But I'll pull up some more here because there's studies backing this claim up. That I want to pull up Mario Knopfel because he's got a tweet about this. They say Trump announced Monday that the U.S. FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy can be associated with the very increased risk of autism. They are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary, such as to treat fever if you can't tough it out. So let me see if I can. There was this tweet that I saw. Here we go. We've got this post from Mario Knopfel. He says, Trump's Tylenol warning backed by Harvard and Johns Hopkins research. He says Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Columbia, and Mount Sinai all say the same thing, and they've got the peer-reviewed studies. Harvard School of Public Health found that acetaminophen exposure increases risk for both autism and ADHD. Johns Hopkins discovered babies with the most acetaminophen in their cord blood were nearly 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism. Even Mount Sinai called the connection to neurodevelopmental disorders strong enough to warrant warnings for expectant mothers. Now the FDA finally agrees, saying the data is too strong to ignore and will move forward with label changes and doctor alerts. Tylenol probably did contribute to autism, however hard it may be to believe that such a thing could fly under the radar and cause a generational epidemic of autism that went unchallenged for decades. Here you go. Shannon Watts. Shannon R. Watts. So she has me blocked, right? Yeah, she does. She says, many studies suggest a major cause of autism is the mutated sperm of elderly fathers. But in a centuries-old tradition, see everything from schizophrenia to eating disorders, men have decided to blame women for taking Tylenol while pregnant, despite no valid supporting studies, except for, of course, Mount Sinai, Harvard, Columbia, Johns Hopkins, etc. Except, the science. Keep this lady away from hospitals. That's their response. Men just hate women.
Yep.
What? They're saying Tylenol. Did a woman invent Tylenol? Is that it?
She's a punishing imbecile.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was funny too because Trump also in the interview said he blamed vaccines. You saw that?
Oh, I saw it.
He was like, there's a lot of groups that don't take vaccines and have no autism. And then RFK's like the Amish. And he's like the Amish. And I'm just sitting there laughing, being like, "This is not a press conference about vaccines, Donald Trump. This is."
He turned it into it though. He talked about the stabbing your kid with a Hep B, which we haven't done. We have 3 kids. Our oldest is 9. We don't do that. We got kicked out of a lot of practices for not doing it, and it was vindicating to see that today.
What was Trump's quote on the Amish and ADHD? He's like, they just don't even know what it is.
Yeah, RFK didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
he's like, there's studies.
They don't get distracted. They're like the most locked in group on planet Earth. They're just building like barns all the time. Like they don't have time to get distracted. They have barns to build.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
And they helped him win Pennsylvania. They showed up.
Oh yeah.
They did.
Big time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they did because I think it was the FDA came down on them about their milk.
Yeah.
They got raided.
Yep.
Yeah.
The FDA came out and came down on them, and like Scott Pressler was running right behind the FDA. He's like, "Would you guys like to sign up and register to vote?" And they were like, "Hell yeah!"
I wish I could remember who tweeted it on the day after the election, but they basically said when the Amish showed up to vote, it was like in Lord of the Rings when the trees got up.
Yeah, the Ents are coming. But it's true. They're for the most part, there's still a lot of Americans that just want to be left alone. They just want to live their lives. They don't want to have to be involved in politics. And they tend to be more conservative because people that are on the left tend to be activist types. They tend to feel like, oh, we've got to make all these changes and we got to do all this stuff because we can perfect society if we just, do a little bit around the edges or what have you. But when you have the government stick their nose into their lives, into people's lives, you activate people and say, okay, well, I guess I have to. I mean, back in the day, back in the 90s, Microsoft had 0 lawyers, right? And then the feds started looking at them for antitrust stuff because everybody had Microsoft products. They were just making the best stuff out there. And so everyone was buying Microsoft stuff. And the feds started to stick their nose in and say, well, what's going on over here? So they had to hire a boatload of lawyers. Now they have more lobbyists than just about any other company out there, or they have among the top numbers of lobbyists. And it's because the federal government has stuck their nose in. If you have resources or you have the ability to influence the government and the government is coming after you, you're going to exercise that ability, whether it be at the ballot box like the Amish did or at the, with lobbyists like Microsoft did.
So you're defending Bill Gates right now?
No.
You think positive Bill Gates arc was one where Microsoft remained a trust without hiring all their lawyers?
So I don't think that the government should have been sticking their nose into any company. I think the government should basically just F off and
Do you think he wouldn't have drank the pea water if the government hadn't messed with his stuff in the 90s?
I don't even know what you're talking about with the people.
You don't know about this?
No.
You don't know about this?
I'm glad that I don't.
I just figured he drinks pea water all the time.
It's like classic Gates Foundation thing. He recycled a bunch of pea water to prove that Africa could be run more sustainably or something.
There's a video of this.
Yeah.
That's just Bear
Oh,
Grylls
where
built.
he
That's
basically they purified it, right? Okay, all right, yes, I'm aware.
You at war with him because he wants to block the sun and you want to have clouds?
Not a big block in the sun guy.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You're at least against that.
Yeah, no, we do not.
No geoengineering.
No.
Cloud seeding is another issue, which I wish we can get into. But Bill Gates is a no.
Geoengineering, big no.
Bill Gates is a no?
I'm gonna go with Bill Gates as a no.
Okay. Well, that's a start. We found some common ground.
That's amazing. I can't believe that just happened. I was like the
So, my question is, how do you reconcile cloud seeding with the fact that there's not even any clouds?
Well, there's clouds. He just keeps mutilating them.
Well, where are the clouds coming from?
Yeah.
Cultivating.
You're not cultivating. You're destroying God's beauty.
You ever heard of air soul invigoration of convection, bro?
Tell me about it, bro.
We make them bigger, the clouds.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You like small clouds.
I think we should leave it alone.
Do we get rid of the dams on the rivers?
Well, that's engineering. What you're doing is like Oppenheimer.
First of all,
You don't know what unintended consequences you're doing by interfering with nature.
yeah, but
And
Oppenheimer.
you're a privatized war machine that was started in war, and now you're doing it under the guise of masquerading to help farmers. But in the future, I imagine you'll be creating fake rain for data centers that your friends in Silicon Valley will be building everywhere.
My friends, I just disavowed my friends in Silicon Valley.
Not enough. Not enough.
What do you need fake rain for data centers for?
Data centers soak up lots of water, right?
They kind of do, but they're mostly closed loop circuits, so they don't actually consume that.
Have you not said in interviews you're going to drop fake rain for data centers?
It's real rain actually, but
It's fake.
It's fake rain from fake clouds.
It's silver iodide. They roll their eyes, but this is a very real issue.
We can get into toxicological thresholds, bro. If you want to do
You're just
that.
going to keep deflecting with big words. I'd like to keep it blue collar.
Okay. Safe. Big, fluffy, natural, safe. Beautiful rain, wet farms, wet data centers. So the specific question is...
You started saying words that no one understood.
the silver iodide stuff is all.
But it's not good. We don't know. There's 2 scientists that just testified 4 days ago before Congress saying they don't even understand what the buildup of silver iodide is going to do to the water and to the soil. And you can mention 80 years of data, but Fauci has 8 years of vaccines, and we know that's safe and effective.
Yeah, but hold on. I mean, what you're basically saying is because we can't study the long-term effects multi-decade, we shouldn't do anything?
We should not interfere with nature in the way I think cloud seeding is.
Well,
But real quick, he made a point about dams.
Right. That's working
That
with...
wiped out cities.
That's working... Yeah, and I get it. That's working with nature. That like irrigation, building dams, that's like an engineering I can get behind. But what you're doing... I don't agree with because I believe, and I know your website says you're not playing God. I like that you have that in FAQs, but I think you are playing God.
well, okay. So just for one point of context, can I ask if you're religious?
I believe in Jesus Christ.
Okay, yeah. No, Christ is Lord. Love that guy. Saved my life 4 years ago. I've got one theological point and then one like technical point, right? The theological point that I think matters a lot is trying to live out the dominion mandate that God gave us in Genesis at the beginning of time, right? He told us to steward and work the garden. He told us to take dominion over the earth, the seas, and the skies, not just for our benefit, but for the sake of creation's well-being and his glorification through that. And if farms are collapsing due to drought, if ecosystems like the Colorado River are collapsing due to drought, and we have a means, sort of like building a dam to store more water, to keep those ecosystems and farms alive for our benefit, if it is in fact safe, and I'd have to prove that it is safe, and you should not just trust me, but verify it otherwise, then we'd actually be abdicating our responsibility to God to take care of his
But God didn't say to synthesize silver iodide in labs.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't know, and we don't know
light bulbs either.
Yeah, but we don't know how that will affect our food, aquatic life.
No, so
but let me just respond. I mean, what you're talking about applies to like millions of products.
Well, there's a lot of things I don't agree with.
Like the wave of fluorescent lights and the chemicals that were in that cause ecological damage, and like don't breathe it in, it'll kill you, and it's spreading in landfills. And
I agree, there is a lot, but since the cloud seeding guys here, I'm talking about cloud seeding, and I'm talking about how I think you know that I believe it will be a danger, because in my sense, to me, a lot of what you're doing plus stuff in Silicon Valley is a Tower of Babel.
So the reason I bring that up, and I'm asking you this, is would you say something similar to like the giant lithium batteries in hybrid cars or electric cars?
Well, I totally disagree with electric cars.
So we should. What about the oil accumulation from engines and things like that?
I think it's bad, but like I don't think we should have people in the skies manipulating weather patterns. I know those things are bad.
I get it.
I know things are bad. I don't agree with vaccines.
I'm just trying to understand where your line is, right? So like, should we ban plastic use? I mean,
plastics are very bad for you.
Yeah, I'm in favor of getting rid of plastic.
I try to use glass and stuff, but even that is sometimes lined with microplastics.
Sure, totally. So like, I think we should do everything possible to have safe, healthy products around us, right? Like we shouldn't be wearing microplastics all the time. We shouldn't be eating a bunch of MSG and like artificial, high fructose corn syrup. But I mean, it tastes good, but it's bad for you, I think. But then the question is, there's two, right? Do we actually know like the thresholds after which using silver iodide to make precipitation would be problematic for ecosystems or otherwise? The answer is yes. So if you look at, there's this one study, gets quoted all the time. It's called like potential risks of acute silver iodide exposure, something to that effect. The lowest threshold of silver iodide concentration in water that can have any adverse effect on freshwater bacteria. Those are the most sensitive organisms that could be affected by this. It's about 101 parts per billion. If you look at the seeded clouds with the highest concentrations of silver iodide in them, you're floating at around 30 parts per billion. So just in the artificial rain, let's call it the man-made rain, you're still 30%, or you're still 70% lower than the absolute lowest threshold for any toxicity to anything in the environment, way below what it would take to impede human life, crops, any larger system. So there's that for one. And then the second thing is like most natural precipitation actually occurs because little dust particles in the cloud are what the water droplets or the water vapor freezes onto, grows into big snowflakes, and then precipitates. It just so happens that silver iodide is one of the more effective materials for that. And so it's mimicry of what God's process for precipitation looks like already.
Oh, what if you did organic cloud seeding with natural dust particles?
Well, then that goes into, I don't think we should be manipulating it at all. Like the silver iodide is just one part of it. Like I don't think messing at all.
Well, then we got to get rid of all of the coal plants and the nuclear plants and the nat gas plants and the solar farms, because they
a lot
all
of issues.
The weather too.
I mean, yeah, there's there's fake clouds. You're just one facet of the fake cloud hierarchy, because there's also different things that are happening within our evaporation and in the water supply. I mean, birth control in the water.
This is
bad.
And I think I'm not trying to say you've not made the point. You made the point that there's a lot of things that are bad. You're addressing this one. I look at like mercury dumping in the ocean and rivers. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about silver iodide and things like that, when we are damming rivers or redirecting them and then using them as waste, like refuse dumps, I see that as largely the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's terrible. I mean,
but are we gonna then like, should we invoke severe like environmental restrictions on companies? You know, we have the Clean Water Restoration Act, very famous because it was the Ohio River, I think, burst into flames.
Yes.
Was it the Ohio River?
Yep.
Started on fire because of all the chemicals that were being mixed into it. And what happened was, it wasn't that any one group was like, let's dump toxic chemicals that burst into flames. It was that each company was dumping a little bit. And so when we were like, yo, why is our river on fire? They were like, don't look at me. I only dumped a little bit. And it's like, yeah, well, all of you are doing it at the same time.
Yep.
So someone had to regulate that avalanche. Otherwise,
I do think we need it. And I'm not like a climate alarmist. You know, like I'm not like an AOC and with the cow farts. But I grew up on the Hudson River in New York, right behind across the river from an IBM place where they could legally dump all their sewage into the river. You know, and I think that was insane. There was a big sign on the train tracks that said that. But yeah, I mean, like there's 31 states right now trying to outlaw you.
Well, so there were 3 states did. I said this the other day publicly. Like, I know, and over the course of this conversation, we've been ragging on tech companies. Totally deserved. Like, most tech companies have no concern for the American people. Most corporations have no concern for the well-being of like the environment that we live in. Most tech companies don't really care about America's national interests at all. And so I am very sympathetic to people being default suspicious or skeptical or even hateful of tech companies. Like, I get that. That's why with people, you've been fairly polite, and I appreciate that. But like, people,
I've called you a ghoul on Twitter.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. His booker ghosted me because of it, but I'm glad we're here now.
No, likewise. But like, I understand that people don't expect tech companies to build real solutions for real people. You don't have to be a climate alarmist to say, like, the Ogallala Aquifer in the Midwest is being depleted, and farms from the Dakotas all the way down to Texas are going to collapse because of it. The Colorado River barely makes it to Mexico, and all the species dependent on it are going to die if we don't make more water there. The Central Valley of California, people have been farming there for 100 years. They're not going to be able to anymore unless we produce more water. And there's a bunch of other things like managing our existing water table better that we should do too. And even all of that said, we should scrutinize and regulate cloud seeding, right? Because we don't want anybody to be adding any material to the atmosphere. And the states that we operate in now, Utah, their Department of Natural Resources regulates the materials we use. Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation does that as well. That's great. I think the federal government should do that too. But we shouldn't like ban it because there's prospective unintended consequences on the toxicological side or on the water table side that we actually can model out and show like what the effects are.
I get it. We do got to go to Super Chats.
Yeah, we're my show right now.
Right.
But I hear you. And when I called you a ghoul, it wasn't because I was blaming you for the floods. Like, I think you were kind of a patsy for that, honestly. I thought you were a ghoul for the PR tour you did, and the company, which I disagree with. And I'm worried about how, I mean, I don't have to get into the whole thing, but like the whole Peter Thiel world is not good to me. And I think it's anti-human. And I think we need to regulate what you guys are doing to the earth. Because I know what you're saying, but it sounds like Neuralink to me. When Elon's saying, we're going to help you out in the short term, but in the long term, you're building a dystopia. And I wish you would redirect because I think you're very smart. I wish you would redirect that brilliance to something a little less dystopian.
Like cloud seeding acid rain over Silicon Valley.
Just stop messing with the sky,
Dude,
you're monopolizing it.
I think you might have pegged me as the wrong guy. Totally get why, but
Why is that?
I don't think that I'm the tech bro that you think I am.
I think you are.
I understand, but I think we can talk about that more.
But I would love to have you on my show.
Maybe we should do a culture war and add like 2 other elements of the discussion on environmental factors. Like
I'd love to have the
change
conversation. I mean, I feel the way I feel. I'm not going to change it. But I appreciate that you have the conversation.
Well, maybe, I don't know, man. Like, if you give me good points, then I'll change my mind.
Yeah. I don't think that'll happen. You're a Teal fellow.
And I am I can't say that publicly. Yeah.
You are a brother in Christ, though. You are a brother in Christ.
Well, yeah, but beware wolves in sheep's clothing.
Exactly.
Don't trust that
exactly
just because I say it.
And right? I'm petitioning you to stop mutilating the sky.
Mutilating.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.